You might not have a relationship problem. You might have a pattern problem. Today, I sat down with relationship coach Jennie Juechter, and what started as a conversation about love and communication quickly turned into something way deeper. And the uncomfortable truth of it all is that what we call love is actually self-abandonment. Jennie shares how she went from a toxic push and pull relationship, drinking multiple nights a week, to completely changing her life. Not by fixing her partner, but by facing herself. And that's where this episode hits, because at some point you realize you can't keep blaming the other person if you're the one staying, shrinking, or repeating the same pattern. So this conversation is about why you keep choosing the same dynamics, how your childhood shows up in your relationships, the difference between real connection and emotional dependence, and what it actually takes to break the cycle. So if you've ever thought, why does this keep happening to me? Or why do I lose myself in relationships? This episode might feel just a little too accurate. So the question is, are you ready to look at the part of this that's you? Is There More is the podcast where creators share how their darkest moments became the breakthroughs that changed everything. We're building a space for raw stories, deep connection, and real hope for everyone who's still writing their story. Brought to you by Dialogue Life Skills, the world's scalable solution to the teen and young adult mental health crisis. I'm your host, 𝒂𝒏𝒚𝒐𝒏𝒆, and I'm listening. Hi, it's good
Hi,
to
nice
meet
to meet
you.
you. You too. Glad this worked out.
So you're a relationship coach,
Mhm.
a psychiatrist, right? Different than
Yeah,
that?
and definitely not a therapist either.
Okay, which is so awesome. We need all the mental health support we can get
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now in this world. Why did you decide to become a coach?
Sure. So I actually got my master's in professional counseling back in 2006. So I went from college, took like a little bit of time off, right into graduate school, had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And after I got my master's, I felt really discouraged. So I remember at the time we had to do internships, and I did an internship. I wanted to do sex therapy with couples. That was like what I had thought would be so cool. I was like,
That's cool.
this is like, I feel really passionate about this, helping couples connect. And they didn't have internships in sex therapy except for like with sexual deviance. And I was like, that's not what I'm interested in. And so I ended up doing a different internship. And then right out of school, I got a job doing research with schizophrenic patients. And I guess I just think I was young, you know, I think I was young and not really knowing what it took to be like focused and successful. And so I was just kind of like bouncing all over the place, which I don't think is abnormal, right? But
I mean,
I
yeah,
don't
I
think
went
I was.
I went to 7 different colleges trying to figure out
Yeah.
what I wanted to do, so I can definitely relate to that.
So I ended up getting a job in the alcohol industry, and I worked in the alcohol industry for 14 years.
Mhm.
And that is where a majority of like my, you know, late 20s, early 30s career really started. And my husband and I, so we got together in 2009. And I remember we had babies before we got married, and we actually got pregnant the night we got engaged. Like I know, I just like some women just know, like I actually know when it happened, right? So we ended up like not getting married until later. And during this process of like us being together and having our babies, like we were both like heavy drinkers. I would look at our relationship as probably being pretty toxic and just like that push pull dynamic. I did not know I would define myself as like a codependent person, but as I started like my own healing journey, like which is when I kind of got into coaching, I really could see all of the traits and the enmeshment and the dynamics in my early childhood home that were very dysfunctional, and how I brought that into my relationship. And I when I we were selling our house, so we had our 2 boys. I think this was 2017, and we were moving from a smaller house in a not so great neighborhood, lots of gunshots at night. So it was like, you know, a transition neighborhood that was not very safe. And we had gotten this dream home of ours, right? And we pulled out all the stops. Like I pulled out some money for my 401k. Like he put savings in, and it was a short sale house, but it was this amazing home. And I remember having this thought, like, when I get this house, I am going to be so happy. I'm not going to feel sad ever again. Like, and it was the quintessential if when, or like if then, you know, like where it's like this forward thinking, like this thing is going to do it, right? I had no idea that drinking 4 nights a week could impact your mental health. I didn't know that, you know, because it was so normalized in my industry, you know, like I drank less than everybody compared to like, you know, compared to what everyone else drank. I was, you know, like more of the light drinker. And so we moved, and I was like, oh, look, your depression's here again. You're sad. Like you're upset. Like, and I didn't know the dynamics of my codependency. I didn't know how like any fight we would go in felt like death to me. I had all this unhealed abandonment trauma. I didn't know any of this stuff. And I remember hearing a podcast, and it was from my very first mentor, who was Brooke Castillo with the Life Coach School. She was like a pretty famous, she had one of the most famous like coaching schools. And she had this program called Self-Coaching Scholars. And she was like, and I had just gotten a little bit of money from our old house. And I was like, I'm going to pay for a full year of this. And it was the first time that I like got in touch with a different version of myself. It's like, oh, you're not your thoughts. You're not your feelings. Oh, there's something behind this. like you're not just this walking kind of like go all over the place, you know? And so that's what got me into coaching, was just the experience of like being a participant getting coached. And it's so funny, Megan. I tell you the story, like the very first time I got coached online, because she would do weekly coaching, and I volunteered to get coached, like I think my second week. And I remember telling this, I was getting coached on my mom watched our kids. Okay. And she watched our boys while both Alex and I worked full time. And one of our family members was having a really hard time with alcohol and had gotten into some trouble. And so my mom was choosing to help her. And I was so upset that I was like not going to get my mom's help anymore. And I remember telling the coach all about it, you know, like, and I even said, now I have to pay for childcare because of this person's mistakes. Like it was something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And she goes, whoa, sister, you had to reach far for that one. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, you pay for childcare because you choose to work. If you have to pay for childcare, it's because you choose to work. I did not understand what she meant for a year. That's how deeply entrenched I was into what I would just describe as like victim consciousness, drama dynamics. That's how much it had a hold of my brain and my body. And it was in that moment, like I didn't get the coaching then, I get it now, but that was like the start of my journey, right? Like, and so I started taking my coaching into my work, and I was applying it to myself. And like, I was always a fly under the radar type of employee, like do just enough to not get in trouble, but never like, I was never someone who's like, I want to like blow my own damn mind. Like, and the real shift for me happened when I realized I decided to sign up for coach training and get certified. I think this was like 2018, maybe, when I was getting certified, or maybe it was 2019. And at that time, I was noticing how much I drank and starting to be like, wow, like, is this, am I like abusing alcohol? Like, I've never even considered this, you know, like I drink too much. Like, is this actually a thing?
Hey guys, if you're a new viewer or if you're a returning viewer, hi, I'm your host, 𝒂𝒏𝒚𝒐𝒏𝒆. I love interviewing people who have gone through pain to purpose transformation journeys, and Jennie is freaking amazing. She's so inspiring. She's so bubbly. I love her personality and her perspective so far. I also love this Texas tea I've been drinking. This is the unsweetened one, so it's not sweet, but it has an amazing mint leaf aftertaste that takes the bite off of it. If you guys are in Texas, or the South, go pick this up at your local Buc-ee's, Whole Foods, 7-Eleven, Central Market, H-E-B. It's in a ton of stores, and this month it's launching in Walmart. So go to your local Walmart, see if you can find a six-pack of Texas tea. It won't be unsweetened. It'll be the sweet tea or the peach tea, but those are, you didn't hear it here, but those are even better than the unsweetened. And after this sip, let's get back to the show. Oh yeah. What made you realize that in that moment?
I'll tell you, like, I had gotten some feedback. So we were doing practice coaching and I got feedback, and I had such a shame wall that it was really hard for me to receive feedback without me criticizing myself so profusely that it's like it was shaming, like I was protecting myself from shaming. And I went down, it was a Monday night, I went down and poured myself a glass of wine on Monday to escape how I felt. And I was like, you weren't going to drink wine tonight and you're drinking wine tonight. Why are you doing that?
Nice.
So I just had this moment of like, why are you drinking when you said you weren't going to drink? And that was like it was a constant, battle of like, oh, well, you're not going to drink till Thursday or Friday. But then I'm like, well, I have a hard day. Oh, I got this open bottle of samples, so I was starting to catch myself in that. And I didn't recognize the mental and emotional toll that it was taking on me and robbing me, like the emotional, like resiliency that I didn't have because of the drinking. I had that revelation. And so I decided to take alcohol out I was totally telling myself like I was going to feel 100 urges, like move through having 100 urges to drink and saying no to myself. And it ended up being like, I was like, well, maybe I have one a day and I'll just like have 100. So like maybe it's 100 days. So I took it out for 100 days and it changed my life. Wow. I like saw myself so differently. I started to see my potential, my capability. Like I had control over my mind. I felt more emotionally stable. And I was like, I'm going to try hard. Like, oh, you're like actually going to be someone who tries hard. And like that year I got sales rep of the year as someone who was in a really highly competitive territory in my business, like all high end, really competitive accounts. And I got sales rep of the year, and like we had a big company too. So I did all that, and I wasn't doing it to like impress my bosses. Like I was doing it because it made me feel good. And I was like, oh, this is like you having agency over yourself. This is you like doing stuff because of how you want to feel, not anyone else. And it did happen as like the catalyst was me taking alcohol out and like creating that result. It was like, oh, you created this result on purpose. And it's like, you create results and you do, but like when you really like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then you do it. So it's like, I think I was tasting my own power. And that's when I got into coaching, and eventually in 2020 left my job. We got to experience being home with the kids for the first time. And I was like, fuck this, fuck being away from my boys, like this sucks, going away for 10 hours a day and like coming home to the scraps of motherhood. I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. So my husband, I told him, I was like, I really want to quit. And he said, okay, if you quit, we were moving, because he didn't want to stay in Atlanta where we lived. And he was really wanting to move to like a quieter place. So I was like, okay. So we moved. I've been full-time coaching ever since. We have like a really great, like quiet, it's not a tiny town, but it's a way smaller town. And it's like, it's quaint. It's got everything that we need. And I love it. And it's a great place to raise a family. And you can get from one end to the other in 15 minutes. And it's awesome. Instead of like an hour to get to Trader Joe's on a Saturday. That was what we were living. So that's how I got into coaching. And then as I've been a coach over the last 6 years, my topics have shifted, from alcohol to relationships. And the thing that I found is that even as I was coaching women on alcohol and they would come to me to like quit over drinking, we were always talking about their relationships. Like that's all we talk about.
Yeah. We love to talk about relationships.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes to our detriment too,
Right.
I
And then
think.
and like when they get becomes obsessive, you know, it's like when you like you can't and that to me was that codependency thing that I found is like if I can't feel good about myself or go on about my day because I'm in a fight with my husband, that's a problem.
Right.
Like too
Or
much
like if you
power.
can't make your own decisions, you have to ask your friends when you already know or, you know, things like that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. That was a big
Yeah.
thing I did too, was like I have a reel right now that's getting a lot of attention because I said like, you know, as an ex-member of the husband hater club, like I can tell you that talking to other women like talking shit about your husband to other women is the problem.
Oh, yeah.
And I just mean complaining. You know, like I don't mean because I think some of the people on there are like, yeah, you shouldn't talk shit. I'm like, well, listen, motherfuckers, it's not like he was innocent. It's not like he was like doing stuff, but I'm saying the complaining is the problem. The not addressing issues in a
Yeah.
direct, grounded manner is the problem. But
Yes.
doesn't mean I was just shit talking and he didn't deserve it. I'm just saying, like, you should, you know what I mean? Like, just don't complain with no like agenda. How are you going to solve this? Like, what are you
Yeah.
going to do? You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. First of all, you're not gonna fix the problem talking to your friend about it. You're only gonna fix the problem talking to your husband about it, you know?
I was so conflict avoidant.
Yeah, I also struggled with that too, but I also didn't know similar to you, I also didn't know what I was doing. I didn't realize
Mhm.
that it was bad, you know? So I love uncovering this is why I love, like, social media and stuff too, because you can uncover so many, you know, people talking about things where you're like, "Oh, I didn't see it that way," or, "Oh, I'm kinda feeling this. Oh, this explains what I need to do," or whatever,
Yeah.
you know? So it's so cool that you're posting and, like, when you got into is that when you started getting online, like, when you got into full-time coaching?
I was so dumb. So I when I was working in the alcohol industry and I was having this like holy shit like experience with not drinking, I was talking about it. And I was like, "Oh my god, like not drinking is so great." And I actually got called into the office and they were like, "Jennie, your job is to like make people want to drink more and you're talking to people about drinking less."
Mm.
And I was like, I think I might be out of alignment then because that is not feeling like what I want to do anymore.
I would've been like, "I'm doing God's work."
You know, like, and I just like went through this whole thing of like, oh my gosh, like, and I think I got, you know, and but they were right, you know, like they're not wrong. Like they are protecting their business. And I was just having this experience that was like eye-opening. So that was when I started posting online and I was starting to attract clients at that time. So I was signing clients while I was working my full-time job, just posting about my experience and like just posting about coaching in general and like saying like, hey, I can help you if you want help with this, I can help you. So and the, you know, it's just morphed like online is it's wild. And I'd say that it's been for me personally, it's been the thing that's like revealed my people pleasing, like revealed my approval seeking in a major way. You know, like
Mm.
I'd say of all the trauma responses, fawning is my favorite.
Fawning meaning what does fawning mean?
People pleasing.
Oh, people pleasing, okay. So it's fight, flight, freeze, fawn. They added fawn now? Is that a thing?
It,
Is
it's
that
a
a thing?
fish. Officially a fish.
It's a fish, okay, I got it. I actually love that because it is I thought that was more of the freeze thing, but I
Yeah.
guess freeze is just going, like, cold and
Well,
what's
it's
the
freeze
difference?
and then perform. So when you're
Perform.
fawning, you're freezing, but then you're performing something.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think I've cycled through them all in my days, to be
Yeah.
honest. I've experienced
Actually,
all the trauma responses.
I dabble in all of them.
I do, I do. I definitely do.
And I do as well, but I feel like with different personality types, you orient towards a couple, like one or more, you know, like that's my experience is like some people are more fight driven and I've seen that in clients. It's like, oh, so like the way we want to work with you in relationships is going to be very different than the way I might work with someone who's a people pleaser, you know,
Mm,
because you need you don't need that fight. You don't need that. Like, you actually need softness, whereas someone like me actually can benefit from feeling that fight,
Yeah.
to access that, to like access like the boundaries that need to happen for like healthy relationships.
Yeah. What piece of advice would you give somebody who's trying to stop fawning and fight more?
I would say this. I think that when we fawn, and this is very general, but like, I always feel this like open-heartedness, right? Like, I feel like I'm very like heart-led or like emotion-led. And the best thing I ever heard was that when you have compassion, because I think a lot of times people pleasers are just very compassionate and they're very like empathetic, right? And to their own detriment. It's like a use and abuse of a gift, right? And I heard this, that compassion can be like this, like open-heartedness like this. Compassion can also be like this, where it's like you have like a boundary here where it's like you're protecting like your heart in a healthful way. And so I think that, when we're people pleasing, like we're forgetting that it doesn't feel good to lie. It doesn't feel good to maintain a relationship if you have to lie. Now, it's one thing if you're consciously lying. If you're consciously people pleasing, I think that's a whole different experience. But if you're going through like
Oh, yeah.
you people please someone on purpose because like the emotional maturity of someone, or like the way they're going to react. So you step into the relationship with the notion of like, I'm doing this because, and then that's conscious choice. But like, it doesn't, I feel like that self-abandonment, when you're lying and you have to be dishonest in order to maintain connection, it ultimately hurts and you ultimately hurt yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So if I got that too, like basically people pleasing is self-abandoning is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And a lot of times like people are unconsciously doing it. They're unconsciously people pleasing, which is worse, right? You're saying than doing it
It's a
consciously. But
pattern.
okay, but either way, it's not good because you don't feel like it's good to abandon yourself to stay in a relationship. That means you're not in alignment with that person. Did I get
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. I like
Is
how
there?
you say that's I see you using the structured conversation.
Yep, I gotta do it.
I love it. I love it. So good.
Yeah. I mean, it's a practice too, right? Because it's
Mhm.
hard. It's hard to listen. I think that's one of the biggest things I learned by learning dialogue was like, ooh, it is very hard to listen
Mhm.
and like to anyone without putting your own thing on it, right? So I love that mirroring aspect. You talked a lot about shame,
Mhm.
and also you talked about like I know you wanted to get into sex therapy, and then you
Mhm.
talked about you had a lot of shame.
Mhm.
So how was the sex therapy? Why sex therapy? And then how did you start to resolve that shame?
I don't know why sex therapy, except other than like I remember, I don't know, like I had orgasms as in 4th grade. Like I remember being interested in sexuality and feeling aroused and feeling like my Aunt Jane jokes that I one day was I think we were in like Panama City Beach on spring break, and I like looked out the window. I was like, look at that sex pot out there. But I think I actually liked her, like I was like, cool, look at you, but I was like judging it, but I was also like intrigued by it, like this like sexy lady. So I think that I wanted that freedom in in sexuality. And but I had a lot of shame, like I had about a lot of body shame. And this came from my mother, who just, she had a lot of trauma, a lot of unhealed trauma. And my dad died when I was 2. She never remarried, very scared of men. And so I think that I felt this inhibited energy growing up, but this vivacious and vibrant inner self, right? And a lot of times that part of me only even came out when I drank. Like I was only allowed to be flirtatious and sexy when I drank. And so I think that initially the interest in sex therapy was probably for my own healing. I later got a certification in sex, love, and relationships. And that's what actually taught me a lot of the tools. That's what introduced me to Harville Hendrix work. I don't know if you believe in astrology at all, but like a lot of my, I don't have a complete clear understanding of astrology, but like I do know almost all my stuff is in the house of relationships. Whatever the relationship one, it's like that's where all my stuff is. And I'm like, well,
So
perfect.
I'm like,
Yes.
house of relationships.
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy. I have nothing in that house. Zero. But that's amazing. I find like those people to be so personable and like they do the best in partnerships and like even in work and stuff like that. So that's really cool. So you said your dad died when you were 2? How was it like growing up without your dad?
Sucked.
Yeah.
Like I think I didn't know it sucked. I knew what I knew, which was this family dynamic of me, my mom, my sister. And when I look back on it, I see that my sister really stepped in as like this father support for my mom. Like she became my mom's partner, and then I became my mom's emotional support system. So I see the dynamics very clearly now, but I can see that that lack of masculine energy in our home and how impactful that was for me. Like I really struggled with boundaries and with initiative and with responsibility. And like I missed so many Mondays of school. My mom couldn't get me, like I would just be like, I would fake it. Now I'm so hard on my kids if they try to miss a school day. I'm like, nope. It's like you don't know what you're missing until you grow up and you're like, why is this emptiness? Like, where is this hole here? It's like, oh, that need wasn't met, and so now it's like I see, like I became aware of the masculine energy that I needed to bring for myself in my life. And so like I resource myself to find that. Like I have male voices that really fuel me and bring different aspects of masculinity into like in for my own embodiment. But growing up, I didn't know any different.
That's so crazy, yeah, because how would you know if you were only 2 and, you might have maybe, like, 1 memory of your dad
Zero.
even. 0,
Yeah.
yeah. How do you
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know if I remember anything when I was that young.
Mm-mm.
Um, Crazy. So you have this theme of, like, you didn't know until you knew, and now now when you start to realize these things, you're like, "Oh my gosh, like, I have to share this, and, like, I have to live by this and commit to this." Such great advice. I also struggled with alcohol too for many, many years. I had an eating disorder, and
Me
my whole
too.
family yay! My whole family was, like, alcoholics, and
Mhm.
had an eating disorder because my family is also obese, and so I thought it'd be a good prevention method, to not become obese.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Anorexia
really
was a lot.
Mhm. Yeah, it's hard for me to gain weight now. But
Mm.
I really, really struggled with alcohol, and so I really respect your have you been sober for
3 years. So
3 years?
terrible. I had a
Congratulations.
dream the other night that I had a drink, and it was a Guinness, and I was so pissed. I was like, "Of anything that you would, like, leave sobriety for, it's like Guinness? Ew." I was, like, so relieved to wake up. I was like, "Dang, I'm so glad I'm still sober."
Yeah, so glad it was a dream.
I'd had periods in my life where I drank alcoholically, and I was like, you do got that in you. It's like it wasn't there the last 5 years where you were, like, mindfully drinking after you took that first 100 days, but, like, there is something in you, and it's a little addicty. It's the same part of me who's like, "Oh, you just tried an Orange Theory class. Now let's go every day."
Yeah. 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 Oh, yeah. I then got addicted to yoga after that,
Yes!
and,
Yes.
like zenning everything because like,
Yes.
I
It's
could
like
just
feeling chasing is really what it is, and that's what I've narrowed this down to. It's like
put it
I'm feeling chasing.
feeling chasing, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Like, I get a high from Orange Theory, like, "I'm gonna go every day and get that high," I was like,
Yeah,
wait a minute, girl," like, that's not
I wa
that's not
Yeah, I was interviewing this lady a few months ago who said, like, but it's not a bad thing if you're chasing high because that
Mhm.
dopamine hit is what keeps you going. And I was like, really? I'm like trying to cut out caffeine, which I finally quit coffee. I'm trying to like not be addicted to anything. And she was
Whoa.
like, well, you're, you know, she's like, "Well, I mean, you should." She was like, "I follow my pleasure because that's what keeps me, like, lit and wanting to, like, do things and, like, excited
Mhm.
about life." And I was like, "I've never thought about that before." I think I was, like, for so long because of alcoholism and trying to get sober 1,000 times, quitting cigarettes, quitting eating disorder, whatever, doing all this stuff for so many years trying to, like,
Mhm.
heal and
Yeah.
get normal. I think I had this shame around pleasure where I wasn't allowed to feel
Mm. Yes.
good
Yeah.
anymore because feeling good usually got me in trouble, got me hurt. A lot of things were always bad when I was feeling good. Everybody else was kind of feeling bad. I was like that kind of like demon, Tasmanian devil kind of
Yeah.
friend like that. So yeah, I had a lot of shame, I think, around like pleasure in general. But yeah, so hearing certain people like that lady say like, I follow my pleasure and like I think she said I forget the title of it, but it was really good. Like my pleasure is my purpose or something, not like that. But
That's
and
from
I
your
was like,
podcast?
that's yeah.
That makes a lot of sense too, like, if you've and but I think too, like, when you have addictions and it doesn't and I use that word, like, loosely, but, like, I feel like there's a difference between following pleasure versus, like, escaping pain with pleasurable pursuits.
How would somebody know the difference? Like, cause when you're doing it to mask pain or cope with pain, you don't
Mhm,
actually know that until a certain point. So how do
mhm.
you uncover that when you're still in the masking pain state?
I don't know if there is, like, one answer, but I think that, like things start to feel like nothing's great, like, when I feel like when you're masking a lot, there's, because, like, when you numb the good or say when you numb the bad, you numb the good, right? Like, that's how that works, right? So, like, your your emotional variability becomes, like, small, 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 and so I think that, when you start to feel like your life is feeling smaller,
Mm,
like, what brings you excitement, what lights you up, like, feels smaller. Like, I remember making this post about how excited I was because my husband and I were going to this bagel shop on a Saturday morning that had just opened, and I was like I don't even think it had just opened, it was our first time there, and I was like, "Sober Saturday," like, "We're going to the bagel shop." I'm, like, so
oh,
fucking lit
that's so
up,
cute.
like, so excited.
Yeah.
And commented, like, stupid shit anyone can do, like, but I was like, "Oh, wow, like, you don't get to be excited like me because I'm so excited about this bagel shop because I'm building it up. I don't have this thing that I compare it to, which is, like, the feeling of 2 or 3 glasses of wine, like, I don't have that contrast. So,
Mm,
like, small things are exciting, and then that is generative for me, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, because you went through the depths of pain to get to feel that joy just for simply bagels on a Saturday.
Yeah,
So you
totally.
do I mean, you have that long-term contrast. I had a similar thing, I used to only record podcasts on Saturdays, and it dawned on me within, like, I don't know, maybe month 6 of me starting my podcast that I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy I'm not hungover on a Saturday morning and I get to talk to inspiring people instead," I was like, "Wow, my life has changed, like, so much." Like, it's crazy sometimes I think when you start working on something and you're like at least for me, I go, like, head down for, like, a long time. I don't even
Mhm.
look, like, where I am, but then, like, eventually it will, like, dawn on me and I'm like, "Oh my god," like, 2 years ago, my life was oh my god, my Saturdays were totally different, and now yeah, it's important to celebrate the little
Yeah,
things because those are, like,
yeah,
the things that remind you why you wanna keep going and why you even started, getting
Yeah.
sober for that example in the first place,
Yeah.
That's
I think it
amazing.
brings childlike wonder back. Like, to me,
Hmm.
like, the excitement I can feel about the ice cream sandwich I'm having after dinner tonight, I'm going all day. I'm so excited about that thing. Like, like, just little tiny things, like being excited, like having this conversation. Like, I feel so lit up. It's like we're connecting. It's like this feels so good. When I was drinking, like, everything was, well, I can't wait till.
Mm.
Like, I just felt like there was a lot of missed presence because I was like wishing, like, oh, I can't wait. This would be so much better. Like, my mind would always tell me, like, this would be so much better with a glass of wine.
Right. Or like, I can't wait till I get off work. Well, I don't know about you because you're working at a bar, but so that I can go drink or like whatever. Oh, God, the missed presence is so, yeah. Do you think that people have to hit rock bottom in order to change?
Definitely not.
Really? I think they
No.
Who
I
changes without rock
think
bottom?
here's the thing, like, I think that rock bottom is different for people. So I think that we all have a threshold of like, this is my worst.
Mhm.
This is the worst case scenario. Like, the last time I drank and I had that 3-day hangover and I wasn't planning on drinking that night, and I knew I was people pleasing, and I ended up I had been like a mindful drinker for like 5 years, I think 4 or 5 years. And I had a 3-day hangover, a shame spiral, like the shame that I felt because like I coached on drinking and all this stuff. It's like it was so immense. And I was like, that actually felt like a rock bottom. I was like, I don't ever want this ever again. If this is available, if alcohol is in my life, I never want to feel like this again. So like to me,
Mm,
that was a rock bottom. Like a hangover and feeling out of my life for 3 days, like it reminded me like, oh, this is here for you. If alcohol's
yeah.
in your life, you get to be this person. You get to miss 3 days of life. You get to not wake up and have your delicious coffee and creamer and go for a run and go work out and feel, pump music on and annoy your family because you're pumped up at 7 a.m. and they're trying to wake up their sleepy eyes. Like, you don't get to be that person. you
Yeah,
know?
you don't get to be you. You don't get to be
Yes.
you.
I felt like alcohol was letting me be me because I had so many repressed parts. And I always say that to people too, like if they are working with me with drinking, it's like, who do you let yourself be when you are drinking? And like my husband and I would always fight when I drank, because I would never express my anger to him. So
Mm,
that there's that tiny little lever when you drink where it's like 2 glasses of wine where like you release repressed things. And
mm.
those parts aren't wrong or bad, but they need expression, and alcohol lets you express them. So like when you learn to relate to those parts without alcohol, like that's that fucking healing,
Hold
you
on,
know?
I'm feeling an alcohol therapy session. I think that's fascinating because, yeah, everybody is different drunk, and some
Mhm.
people are like that, like, very angry or very whatever, and I think I heard that because I used to go to AA, not very much, but when I was really trying to get out of it, I went to AA, and I think I heard something like that, and I started to think about just like, yeah, everything I wasn't doing in my normal life kind of thing, which I don't know, it got more complicated because I'm also an actor, so I had this background, and so I was not able to really identify, like, anything because I was also using that as, like, a coping mechanism for, "I can't be this way in my real life, so I'll just put it all into my character," right? And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I think, like, for me, taking a step back from alcohol and then also acting was like, "Who the are you? Like, who are you? What do you need to like, your your life is your relationships are like, your career is fine, but everything else is like." And
Yeah.
so that that was definitely, eye-opening for me. But, okay, back to your childhood. So,
Mhm.
it's very interesting, yeah, because you said you felt a lot of shame growing up. What was the best thing about growing
I
up?
didn't know I felt shame though.
Uh,
I was just I was
kind.
I didn't know it was shame, but I
Okay.
was really reserved and really quiet. But like I even remember, Megan, like writing, we used to write down like pen and paper, you know, when pen and
Yeah.
paper existed in schools. And we'd have like our contact card. And I would have to write my dad was deceased. And I remember feeling shame about that. Like it was anything that was different, you know, like something that was
Yeah.
different about me. I didn't have emotional language and we didn't talk about feelings. There were a lot of feelings in my house, but we didn't talk about, like, we didn't like that. They were just happening, you know,
Right.
everywhere.
The theatrics. Did you have
Mhm. Yeah.
anything good that you remember about your childhood?
Oh my gosh, yeah. My childhood was not terrible. Like I think about this a lot that my grandma lived just like 5 minutes from us and she used to watch us after school and we would go to her house. My cousin was there and you know, I think that my sister, it was my sister, my mom and me, and I think my sister had a like she was the fight person, right? So like she was the one who she caught us, she was very like angry and she and my mom would fight a lot. And she later told me you know, I have you ever considered that you grew up in an abusive household? And I was like, no, I never thought of it like that. And she was like, just because of the way me and mom fought. And I was like, I never thought about it like that, but I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that is what happened. But I think about the great experiences I had, like going to my um grandma's house and my cousin was there and they had a lake and my cousin and I used to put on Japanese beetle circuses and like we had so much fun and we would like dance to the Beatles. And so and I was so great at making friends and I made best friends from the 7th grade all through high school. They are still my best friends to this day, like my longest relationships, like um and maybe we don't talk as much because everybody's like, you know, separate and living, you know, but we still talk. We still have a text group chat, you know, and like they've got my back, right? Like if anything ever happened, like I could reach out to any one of them. And so I never look at childhood like it's one thing or it's one thing because like that's that trick, right? Where it's like you have to like the brain has to delete, distort, and generalize in order to confirm a narrative. And so I'm like, yeah, there was this stuff that happened in my childhood, and there's also like all this great stuff. And I look back and I was telling my friend this morning. She's actually interested in me coaching her son and she was like, I just think that you would be so funny in the way that you bring coaching in is like you make things fun and you make it like light. And I was like, yeah, I was like, you know, I realized that I can make heavy things feel lighthearted because that's what I did with my mom all the time. My mom was depressed. She had a lot of unprocessed grief. It's like, so I developed a gift of I really know how to shift people's energy and like make things lighthearted and like move them a little bit without like deny like I'm not trying to like force you out of your emotion or anything, but it's like I know how to like lift things and like and make someone make light of what can feel heavy sometimes. You know, it's like I
Yeah.
know how to like twist a little something and that's a gift. You know, I learned that from being my mother's daughter, you know? So it's like that's great.
Yeah, I can see that actually, as even as you tell your story, you're really able to, yeah, not deny the reality, but bring it up into a easy more easygoing type of, tone, you know, maybe than a lot of
Yeah.
people would be able to do. So even within yourself, you do that, which is definitely a gift. Like, I think, like, a lot of people, myself included, can get stuck in like either negative or positive. Like, you know, they're
Mhm.
very big spectrums, but I think there's something beautiful and really almost like disciplined about being able to bring those two together and being able to hold
Yeah.
the reality of something while still being that lighthearted little kid, right? I guess
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're all trying to strive for here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing too is like to even go back to like what I know is your work, like with relationships with the Imago method. And I look back and I see my relationship, with my husband, we've been together for 17 years. And I can
Wow.
really see that the thing that drew me to him was that he was an individual. Like
Mm,
he was very much like, this is who I am. Like he knew who he was so much. And I was just like this chameleon. You know, I
yeah.
was just like Ah, who do you need me to be? I'll be that person for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
I
like, I'm
know.
like wow, like, I chose someone to, like, mirror back this thing that my soul wanted for me, which is this individuality. Now it also comes with shadow because he can also be like, "Fuck that. They don't like it, that's me." You know, it's like, well, do you know how to, like, bend for people? You know? So, like, I see it now, and I have such a, like, a compassion and, like, an acceptance of, like, "Oh, this is who he is. He's so different, and he has brought that reflection back for me." And then I also see, like, I see how his traits mirror a lot of traits of my sister, you know, because my sister was like a dad for me. Like, in my young consciousness, like, I see that that's how I kept her in my mind, right? And so I'm like, "Oh, they're," and they often will, like, like, they like butt heads a little bit, you know, like, over the years they've butt heads. I'm like, "It's because 'cause y'all are the same."
Yeah. The strong rams just locking horns.
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, you got that complaint about him, or you got that complaint about her." It's like, "It's because that's you too."
Seriously, people need to know that. It's like you hate some or, dislike something in someone else, it's probably because 'cause you're that way.
Yes,
I
yeah.
Yeah,
That's my
I learned
favorite
that
thing is, like,
about my
"What's in
dad. I was
you?"
like, "Why do I not like my dad so much?" And I was like, "Oh, because 'cause I'm just like him."
Yeah.
Eventually, we all
Uh-huh.
figure it out the hard way.
And then I'm, like, so mad at my mom about all this stuff, and then I was like, as I'm parenting and I'm seeing, like, "Oh, you're doing that same shit that you used to be so mad at your mom about," and then you, like, develop compassion and empathy, and that heals the relationship because you stop, like, making them so wrong.
So how did you get to that point with your partner? Because I can imagine a very chameleon person with a very strong-willed person, as you're trying to gain back your personal power, right? Because you actually want that, what you see in him. You're probably asserting yourself more. He's probably threatened by it, maybe, or something like that. So I don't know what the dynamics were or whatever, but I can imagine it's a difficult journey to sort of reclaim your power within a relationship with a strong person. So
Yeah.
how did you do that?
The biggest thing for me was, like, so my husband is not alcohol free, and, you know, sometimes he will overdo it, and over the years, like, and we have a really good, like, boundaries around, you know, like, he doesn't drink a lot, but, like, if when he did, like, over drink, like, when he was going through, like, really stressful time, a few years ago, I actually saw, like, that there was a codependency that was happening in me, like, um, where I was making his choices mean something about me. So, like, my
Mm,
healing really started with, like, separating myself, like, from his decisions and his actions. I'm like, "That means nothing about you," and, like, I was scared to be in a fight. I was scared to, like, tell him, like, "Hey, this is bothering me," or because I was scared of, like, him leaving. Like, I had so much abandonment trauma, and
mm,
I can logically kind of know that from, you know, like, losing my dad so young, but then to start to physically feel it in my body, the so much of our healing in our relationship was, like, he doesn't wanna be controlled, you know, like,
mm,
and I had to, like, really tell him, like, if I tell you something that's bothering me and I'm saying, "You need to stop or do this," like, I'm not trying to control you, I'm not trying to be your mother, and he's had to see that in me, that, like,
yeah,
when I say things, when I'm, like, correcting or offering constructive feedback, that it comes from a place of love, not from a place of control or even shaming and criticizing. Because I did that too, like, that was because I would be feeling hurt or I'd be feeling abandoned again because, like, I was my ego was in the way, you know? And so, like,
yeah,
I couldn't communicate in a way that was authentic, you know? Like, it was all hurt, it was coming from hurt and even because I didn't realize that the hurt was there, like, I'd be angry, you
mm.
know? And so,
You
so
heard
much
about
of
the
our
trigger match? When, like, his inner child is hurt, then he's
yes.
triggered, and him being triggered triggers you because it's
Yeah.
like like you have the opposite wounds that match each other, and then you both get triggered, and now you're fighting. I
Yes.
don't
They would be so bad, like, they would be, like, 3 days of silent treatment, you know? And now, like, we still have conflicts, and I don't ever expect to have a relationship with like zero conflict, you know, like we're navigating challenging things. His mother lives with us. She has Parkinson's disease. I'm watching his inner child get triggered on an almost daily basis. Like I have a lot of compassion. And so like our our resolution is so fast now. Like, and it's so healthy and and I'm not saying like, and I did all the work, but like I'm in this field. So like I just applied everything I was learning to myself, to my relationship. And so I think I have been a catalyst to change dynamics because I shifted how I was showing up, you know?
No, that's so important too, because I think so many people's thing is like, well, my he won't do it, or my partner, he doesn't want to talk to me in a normal way or whatever. So can you talk more about it only takes one person to change to
Yeah.
start to shift the relationship?
Yeah. And it sucks because you don't want it to be you because the ego is like, why do I have to do the work? And the thing
Yeah,
I always like, because you benefit no matter what. Like it's your consciousness. You know, it's like you get to be the one who feels powerful. You get to be the one who feels, and I don't mean powerful over someone. I just mean powerful in yourself. Like when you can control a reaction, that's power. When you
mm,
can withhold a word that you know is going to land in a way that is not going to be productive, that's power. And I
yes,
want all that power. Like, I don't care what the other person is doing. It's like, this is who I want to be. And,
right,
you know, if you're playing tug of war with somebody and you drop the rope, there's no game,
mm,
you know? Like, so one person dropping the rope, like, and it just doesn't happen overnight. It's like, you know, it's tiny shifts. As I think about this, I don't know if you've ever read the book Wired for Love by Stan Totkin, and he talks about the couple bubble. Like the way I think about it, it's like, you know, the couple bubble is this like energy like behind like around the couple. It's like, and you're like, or you know, or Harville Hendricks, he talks about like the space between like in a
yeah,
relationship. There's you, there's the other
yeah,
person, like the space between it. I think of it as like the same thing. It's like an energy. And I think about like you are if you spend 5 unconscious years putting things in when it's the power struggle, right? You're putting
right,
things in that space. How long are you going to give it to take things out and like put things good in there, you know? And
yeah.
if it's just one person doing it, maybe it does take longer, but does would it be worth it? Like I think so because I think devotional love is worth it.
Do you think the only way to basically, are you saying, like, we need to replace the negative experiences with more positive, like putting the quarters in the piggy bank that's, like, positive so that it kind of outweighs the negative?
I think you have to process the past. If like this is a big thing I would do with my clients is like we work on resentment and I have a whole process for healing resentment because it's a collection of different unprocessed emotions from the past. And if you haven't processed something from the past, every argument you have that with you, you know, because you're reacting from the things like the unhealed parts inside of you that were wounded in your arguments. Some of those could be also feeling bigger because it's childhood stuff that now your partner's of course triggering because they're just like their parents, you know. So it's like when we can process resentment and not bring the past, that to me is like a big removal. You know, it's kind of like, all right, I can clear out a lot of this stuff on my own because one, I can see areas where I self-abandoned. Two, I can see where I have been in resistance to a certain reality in the relationship. It's like there's all the ways that we're saying no to relationship and we don't realize it.
Mm,
And we got to not erase the negative, but just smooth out the edges. Like learn from it, you know, like if you have things that you did in a relationship that you regret or like you feel shame about, it's like, you know, we have to like take accountability for ourselves and what we've done and learn from it. And then
mm,
that's where we can move forward
yeah.
and and then work to put more positive things and then know it's going to feel challenging because I just think our egos don't they you get so used to thinking a narrative about your person, you know, like when there's hurts, like there's a narrative going on and like your brain doesn't like to be wrong. That this
Yeah.
is there's just like brain stuff, you know, it's like your brain doesn't want to be wrong. Your brain like wants to think he's an asshole. Your brain wants to think he's just selfish. You want like and your brain wants to be like, I'm the victim here. I'm the one that's hurting. Except like maybe you're also the villain.
But why are our brains programmed like that to say I'm the victim and they're wrong?
Well, because the ego's main thing is to be good. The
Mm.
ego wants to know that it's good. And right in our culture, victims are the good ones. And so the
Oh,
ego will fight to preserve being good and right.
okay. So just because it's not the perpetrator, then it's the victim, which makes it the right one because it's not the
Mhm.
wrong one, I guess.
Yeah.
Interesting. Earlier you said in order to confirm a belief, I think you said it like this. In order to confirm a belief, you have to delete, distort, and generalize the thought. Did I get that?
Mhm. Yeah, you have to delete everything that goes against your belief. You have to
Mm,
distort the belief with, like, words like always, never, you know, and you have to generalize, like, you have to make things, like, black and white. Like, you have to make things, like, very vast, right? Like, it's like, so you can have this idea, like, someone like, "Well, he's selfish."
mhm.
And in order for you to hold that belief, and I think of, like, beliefs, it's like sometimes they're like wubbies, you know, it's like a little blanket. It's like, this is how I cozy up at night, you know?
Yeah.
And again, it's like it's not like making anyone wrong for doing this because it's just a function of the brain, and it's like you have to you have to ignore every time your partner acts in a non-selfish way.
Hmm.
You have to distort the things they do to make them seem selfish. So, like, even when someone's doing something that is like I think I used to have this belief, like, he wants something from me.
Hmm.
Like, I brought that from my childhood. And so I I saw myself bring that into my relationship. Like, I would be suspicious, like, he wants something. If you
Yeah.
had to meet needs for your parents, you will feel that relationships are transactional because you're in an inverse, you know, like, I was meeting needs for my mom as a young kid, and I shouldn't have been doing that, you know, like, I didn't need to be doing that, but that was, like, the relationship, and so, like, you bring in this experience of, like, not being, like, fully, like, smothered, you know, in, like, "I've got you, you're protected, you're safe, you belong, you're loved," and then you just bring that into relationships, and so, like, you form beliefs around that experience, and I think what's powerful is, like, you start to own it, you know? You start to own, like, "Oh, I brought this into the relationship. The reason I'm bending over backwards or doing all this stuff to, like, make you see my value is because I believe I need to do all this stuff. It's not you making me."
Mhm.
And a lot of times, like, we don't wanna do that because, like, because then we're like, "Oh, and then I'm wrong. Then I'm now the wrong one," you know? Instead of just kinda seeing the nuance of all of it.
So do you think it's more important to do work on yourself or work on your relationship?
Work on yourself.
Why?
Because you have control over you only, you know? And so work on yourself is work on the relationship because, like, if you're showing up differently, if you show up differently to yourself, if you are someone who is very critical and you learn how to have compassion for yourself, you're going to translate that compassion to other people because you can't give anybody anything that you don't have. Or you can't you can't give anything you don't have an abundance of. So I
Mm.
think, like, creating an abundance of something in yourself and awareness in yourself spills out into relationships.
How do you cultivate that? Like, if somebody had no idea what that even meant, what would you tell them?
I would say my first thing that came to my mind was triggers, is, like, to start looking at what you're triggered by.
Mm.
Like, what really bothers you that other people do, and just start to pay attention to, like, how the brain, starts forming a narrative. Like, what does it start saying? Like, what is the story that just comes up? What do you feel in your body? Like, where do you feel that in your body? Like, learning how to just be present with our own discomfort, like places where we feel tight or constricted. Like, can we bring some presence and some curiosity to those experiences? I remember one of my mentors, I really love her books and I've learned a lot from her. Her name is 𝒂𝒏𝒚𝒐𝒏𝒆. She says, she's like, just being present with your triggers is the only spiritual practice you need.
Yeah,
And
it
I
reminds me
like,
a lot of meditation or yoga, you know?
mhm. And I was like, I think that that's very true. Like, if I just stay aware of what's coming up in me in any experience and I'm present with it, and then paying attention, like, what is my mind doing here? Like, it it's illuminating. And then you start to like, oh, I'm feeling this way because my my mind is now offering me this barrage of thoughts, and that's creating how I feel, and I'm not making that feeling wrong. Is like, is there a need underneath this feeling? Like, is there something I need to tend to in this feeling? So that would be where I would say to start with just self-awareness practices.
Yeah, I think that's a great but it's also like only like the first step because then once you're self-aware, it doesn't matter unless you know what to do with it, you know?
Right.
It
Mhm.
doesn't matter that you know you're triggered or that um you're people pleasing unless you're able to be like, this is how I change. You really have to like interact with people in order to obviously make that happen or else you're just your own solo island, right? So like
Mhm.
going from there, the self-awareness, then what would be the second step that you would tell them once they know they're a people pleaser? What would you have them do next?
I would actually decide, like, I would say, how do you want to show up in this
Mm,
situation? Like, if this is how you're being in this particular situation, how do you want to show up? And I would
right.
actually create like what that looked like. Like, what would you be thinking as the person who is not people pleasing in this experience? Like, what thoughts does that person have? What feelings does that person embody on a regular basis? And then I would actually like kind of almost create like a path of, one of my coaching modalities called it like the river of misery. It's like where you're going from, here's the person who unconsciously people pleases all the time, and here's the person who is not doing that as much or like at all, right? And then you're kind of like building a bridge of stepping stones. There would be some somatic practices, so like some learning of like, where are you starting to feel tension in the body. I call it bath bombing. It's like when I was first learning how to like be with urges to drink, when I was like taking alcohol out for the first time, it would feel like this tight little this inside my body, this like little constriction. And I would just feel that, and I would say like, presence is the thing that dissolves that. So like, can I bring all of my awareness, and if we call that God or Holy Spirit or whatever, it's something. It's something else, that like all that awareness comes and like envelops that little tightness and like slowly starts to dissolve it. And that's, to me, is like where it's bath bombing. It's like, that's how a bath bomb works. It's like the presence is the water, and you start to understand like, well, there's a need underneath here. There's like something that like I want to say that I'm scared to say, and you're like, well, why am I scared to say it? Well, then that might lead you to like another belief. I believe if you say something that's confrontational to people, that they won't love you anymore. So it's like understanding like, what are you scared to lose? And so like, I think there's a slew of questions that we would be asking in between. This is why coaching is such a like wonderful process to help people. It's like, you're not doing this on your own. Like, everybody can do it on their own, like, but like, when you have someone who can ask you the direct questions that you might not ask yourself, or you might not take yourself as deep, um it it just becomes like, oh, it's a little bit less of this. And then,
Mhm.
oh, and then like a few weeks later, you're a little bit less of this. And like, I think of it as like stepping stones. And then as you set the intention, like, I want to be different. Like, I want this change. I think the other important thing is like, it's going to be hard, like none of this work is easy. Like, our brain wants to stay the same. Our brain thinks the way we are is great because it's keeping us alive.
Mhm.
but it's not helping us thrive, right? So, like, you're going against, like, very primitive programming that has, been around since the dawn of humanity, and so it's like, it's hard. And so I think the other part of change is, like, really, like, expect it's gonna suck, like, no Pollyanna nothing. Like, change sucks, it's hard, and, like, let it be, like, but embrace that because, that's our resiliency right there.
What I heard from, like, Helen and Harville Hendrix was, like, you have to be in a relationship where you love each other enough to want to do the work or stay in
Mm,
it. The work they say, like, the work can only happen in, like, a loving relationship where you love each other more than, I guess, your ego or your old self or
yeah,
whatever, so
yeah.
you're willing to work on yourself in order to stay in that relationship. Do you find that to be true, or do you find you can kinda work on yourself within any range of that sort of love?
I think an individual can work on themselves in any relationship and that it always benefits them. Whether that person decides to change in response, that can be a detached result. Like, I think when you decide, like, I wanna grow, like, I wanna heal, like, I want to let my relationship be a source of my evolution, that's what I did. Like, I was like, "Oh, I'm fucked up here." It's like, and I'm not leaving, like, there's no way I could have healed my codependency and been divorced. Like,
Well, because
I
then you're gonna go through it all again with the next person.
Right, because I needed to actually go through a feeling of independence too. It's like I needed to go into independence, and then I needed to go into interdependence, and, like, I probably would've just got stuck in independence. I think that happens a lot. People are like, "I'm healed up." I'm like, "Well, actually, I think you're in independence. I think that you're in that place where it feels powerful because you've, like, taken your power back, but
Yeah.
now you're scared to be in a relationship."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I wonder how you cross that bridge, because I think I've really only been not in a relationship when I was more unhealed, and so
Mm,
I wonder how, because there are so many, especially, like, women who I think, like, leave their relationship, feel really powerful, like, heal or get their shit together or whatever, and then they're, like, single for a very long time. So,
yeah.
do you coach people like that who come in and they're like, "I want to be in a relationship, but I have no idea, like, how?"
I don't have any clients currently, except one who has we've navigated multiple relationships. She's actually been a client of mine for 6 years, and she just, like, loves coaching, like, and so I've just been with her for many different relationships, and, she's, like, navigating being single and having fun with her sexuality, and, like, she's in her 50s, and she's getting hit on by all these, like, 30-year-olds, and she's, like, just freaking loving it, you know? She's so, like, but we've talked about, like, she had a roommate, and so she would had a lot of triggers coming up around it. I said, "This is a really great experience for you to self-advocate with not a lot on the line." There's not romantic involvement on the line, but you get to learn how to say no in this relationship to practice how that feels in your body.
Nice. So one of the things you would recommend too is, like, practicing in low stakes environments, like
Oh,
how you
yeah.
want to be before trying to
Definitely.
do it in a higher stakes, maybe your romantic relationship or
Or
your family.
practicing, I mean, yeah, like, and any of it, it's like if you don't have a romantic partner, like, be practicing the thing that you need to do to grow. Like, if you're a people pleaser and you need to learn boundaries and you need to learn to say no and you need to, like, be able to say what is truthful for you, like, in a respectful manner, even if someone might not like it, do that with your friends, like, do that in places where you can still experience this newer version of yourself, and, you know, date, you know, date a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
like, if I was, like, single and, like, healing and I'd be, like, dating. I'd really, like, be wanting to see myself against someone else, like, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go on 100 dates in 3 months." Like, I just, like, wanna try it. Like, I wanna see, like, how many dates can I go on? Like, I wanna experience all these different people and see me with them.
True, because you probably change, we change with every person we're with. So you get to kind
Yeah,
of, like, really explore who you are with other people. That's
yeah.
true. I love that theme of like people are showing you you, you know,
Yes.
because we don't.
It's the only way we are learning about ourselves.
Right. But there is this culture, especially with like younger, Gen Z kind of culture where it's like, that's why I was asking about the self versus other type of feeling because the
Mhm.
younger generation is getting all this like self-help, self-help, self-help. It's about you. You're the boss. It's not about your relationships, which is why I was asking. But I love how you kind of put together you're seeing yourself in other people. Well, in other people, I don't know, but you're getting a reflection and you're learning more about yourself in relation to other people, but at the same time that doesn't negate that you can work on yourself without being in a relationship or
Yep.
whatever. There's certain things you can do to get to know yourself and who you are now and who you want to be to sort of start to bridge that gap and then show up how you want to show up, and then other people will change because now you're reflecting to them, so they're going to also experience themselves in a different way if you start.
Absolutely. You can train and, like, be doing push-ups and pull-ups and squats and you're running and all this stuff, but you're if you don't get in a ring, what's the point?
Right.
You can be like, "I'm so tough. I'm this, I'm that." I'm like, "Get in the ring, though." Like,
Yeah.
I see you, you're looking good, you're looking great, and I hear you, but what's happening in when you're in the ring? Because that's when someone else is there. That's when you're testing your strength and all the things, and I again, I hate the analogy because it's a fight because I don't want it to be like a fight in a relationship, but it's the only thing I can think of that, like, shows, like, this is where you bring healing work. Like, healing work is not for you to exist on a mountain by yourself. Like, healing work is for you to, like, exist in relationship,
Nice.
you know?
Yeah. So would you kind of recommend doing like going do self work and then go see how you are in the world and then do self work, or is it all kind of happening at the same
Do
time?
it all. Be
Okay.
doing it all. It's like and, like, like, self-work is, like, it's not a job. It's you're just you are working on yourself, like, I think at all times, but also I'm not saying, like, you should be working on yourself all the time, like, it's as if it's, like, you're this project, but I again, like, to that the notion of, like, a trigger illuminating something for you, it's like it's a arrow back in. If you can just be paying attention to those triggers in your daily life, like, is it even on the phone? Like, when you're watching something, all of a sudden you're triggered, like, what is
Hmm.
that? What is being triggered? Why am I feeling this way? And I think that when you do that, when you make that a conscious practice of just who you are, you're only going to bring more quality to relationships,
Yep.
to all relationships, all people you touch, like the way you talk to someone in the gas station, the way you, like, greet cashiers. It's like it's all it all gets to be like gold, I think.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. A trigger is an arrow back into you.
Mhm.
I'm like writing that one down. I love that. If you had one piece of advice for like your 17, 18-year-old self, what would it be?
Don't drink and think people will like you more, because what happens is you will actually end up liking yourself less.
That's heavy.
Like, because I started drinking 15 years old. I had a Zima with a Jolly Rancher. I think you're younger than me, so you might not know Zimas, but
Mhm.
maybe some of your audience will. But, like, it's like a type of, like, malt beverage or whatever. And I can see myself drinking for approval, like drinking to be cool, drinking to be liked, because I didn't feel liked. Like, I didn't feel that. And I think that's normal as a teen, whatever, like to have low self esteem or like shaky self esteem or lack of confidence. But if I were to tell myself, I'd be like, don't drink so that people like you.
Right. Because if you would have known you had a lack of confidence or been able to like tell somebody, hey, I feel like this, then maybe
Yeah.
you wouldn't have drank because you realize like, oh, I just feel like an outsider and that's okay too.
Yeah. And
But
now
yeah,
you're just doing shit that now you feel ashamed of.
that's why people like you are so important because you've taken all of the stuff you went through right in your life and transformed it into something beautiful so that you can help people, and that's like I guess the point of life. Still
Yeah.
wondering, but I think that's the goal, right? So
So
kudos to you.
thank you.
My acting coach used to say something really smart. He's passed now, but he used to say, like, you're still driving. You're always going to be driving down the same road. You just have your headlights on now. And I was like,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
crazy.
that's
Yeah.
good. I like
Yeah.
it. Before I
Yeah.
had a one out and like maybe there's like a bunch of bugs on the windshield. It's
Right.
like
Exactly right. You got to wipe
on the
them off, turn the brights on. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us on another episode of Is There More? If you're a returning listener, please give the channel a like and subscribe. Turn the notifications on. It really helps us out. And we'd love for you to leave a review, actually, because we want to know your feedback and how you think we're doing, how the conversations are going, what topics you want to be into. We want to hear it all. So that was an excellent conversation with Jennie Juechter. She's exactly the type of person that we are loving to interview on this podcast because she knows so much about what it really takes to transform and also what it takes to be in relation to other people successfully. 17 years of marriage. I mean, come on, guys. That's no small feat. It's something to be celebrated. If you guys like this video, if it did something for you, please send it to a friend. And again, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. That was Jennie Juechter. I'm your host, Megan A. Tully, and this has been Is There More? Thanks for listening.